Okay, it is now 6 p.m. Welcome to the April 19th, 2021 regular board meeting of the Bay City Independent School District Board of Trustees. We're at the junior high tonight because voting is going on in our administration building. So, and we got a little bit more room to celebrate our students. So, pursuant to Governor Abbott's temporary suspension of open meetings laws issued on March 16, 2020, and consistent with new state and local mandates on public and health and social distancing, this regular meeting of the Bay City Independent Board of Trustees will be held in the library of the Bay City Junior High. This meeting will be audible to the public at the link provided in the agenda. A quorum of the Board of Trustees will be in attendance in the boardroom, and members of the public may attend the meeting in person, subject to the following health and safety precautions. It is strongly recommended that all attendees wear face coverings. Attendees must socially distance a minimum of 6 feet between each person not living in the same household. And then after we do celebration of excellence, we'll try to limit the attendance to 10 members. If you wish to have submitted comments, those need to be submitted today by 5 p.m. to the Administrative Assistant Linda Estrada, or you can sign up in person at the meeting. And as of the start of the meeting, we had no comments and nobody signed up. And so we do have a quorum tonight with 6 trustees in attendance, and we'll call this meeting to order. Chief, do you mind leading us in the invocation tonight? And then Trustee Fleetback will lead us in the pledge immediately after that.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come tonight to give thanks to your holy and righteous name. And thank you for this state and this nation, and thank you for our school district. Lord, we ask your blessings upon our Board of Education. We ask your blessings upon our superintendents and all of our staff, our students, and our teachers. And God, we thank you for every blessing you give us. Now, God, I ask that you remember those who are sick right now, who are going through the COVID. Lord, we pray now your blessings and healing power will be upon them. Now, Lord, we ask as we go through this night, we ask, Father, that you help us conduct your business that will be pleasing in your sight. We ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please face the United States flag and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Audience and patrons, again, we had none tonight. Okay, so the favorite part of every board meeting is celebrating our students. That's our sole existence here tonight, is in support of the district and the students. So normally we get a dozen or so through here, but tonight we've got 36 certificates, so we all have writer's cramp from signing them, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So congratulations to everyone who's getting recognized tonight, and I'll turn the presentation over to Grant McGalliard, our Chief Communications Officer.
We've still got a couple more certificates coming, so hang on to your hats. But there's a large group here, and I won't spend too much time. I'll let their teachers and coaches say all the nice things about them. But we're going to start with a group of 23 kids that have earned their welding certificates. These students have worked so hard to prepare themselves for life after Bay City High School. Their work exemplifies what can happen when you apply yourself, and it shows the value of all the CPE programs that we have at Bay City High School. So I think we've got a couple welding teachers here. If y'all want to come up and hand out some medals, come on up. all these names kind of hard to put them all.
Okay.
You can ask.
Jesus Barrera.
Jesus Pereira.
Thank you. Okay. Marlene Castillo. Caden Cortines. Landon Davis. Francisco Diaz. Okay, so we'll get yours. Yeah.
It just had, they hadn't said it.
Okay.
Adrian Espinoza. Thank you. Gabriel Perez. I don't see it. If we missed it, I'll give it to you, but I don't see it. So you had it last year. Yeah. Jonathan Fuentes. Anthony Galvez. Thank you. Adrian Garcia. Thank you, Adrian. Nicholas Gonzalez. Isaac Mendoza. Okay. Lucas Hurtado. Thank you. Anthony Kessler. Maybe one more. Thank you. Earl Laws. Thank you, Earl. Juan Lopez. That's all I can say, not to say June. That's translation. Karen Lopez. Thank you. Jaden Luera. Tristan Mancias. Carlos Medrano. Oscar Martinez. Diego Garcia. Jesse Villarreal. Thank you, Jesse.
Let's give them all one big round of applause. Hey, if y'all just were recognized, please come up and we'll try to get all of you in a picture as safely as we can with COVID regulations. But please come up to the front with the medals around your neck and we'll get some pictures. Yeah, how are you going to do this?
About behind you.
Yeah, go behind it. Yeah, I think so. Y'all make 2 rows if you don't mind. Okay, I think the lane's wide enough here to get everybody. All right, this is perfect, guys. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Great, thank y'all. Good job. All right, we are not done yet. Up next, we have some fine art students, 2 Bay City High School students, made the UIL State and Solo Ensemble. This is a really top honor for our band and choir. We have Mr. Longoria and Dr. Coward there to honor these students.
I'm Dr. Coward, I'm the choir director, and I am honored to present to you Talia Yoxheimer. This is actually her 3rd year to make it to state for solo and ensemble, and especially in this crazy time. She didn't get to actually compete last year because COVID shut state down. So she will actually be competing in the next couple of weeks. I'm really proud of her for doing this for 3 years in a row. So.
Hi, my name is Mark Longoria, and we have one student that this is his 3rd year as well to go to state, solo and ensemble. He's also been a section leader for the Black Cat Band and helped the Black Cat Band win multiple sweepstakes trophies, been in the top group with me. And I'd like to give this award to Evan Ramos.
All right, let's get a picture. We'll do it separately. I'm going to do a stand up and sit down. Coach Ron Anderson, I believe, is now going to recognize her as coach here. No? Coach, come on up. Yes, sir.
My name is Ron Arneson. I'm the Powerman coach here for the last 2 years, and I'd like to present a young lady that had a tremendous year. There were 6 invitational meets. She ended up winning 5 of those, and at the 6th one, she got second. She still had the best total, but got second on body weight. So she actually put up the best total of 6 straight meets. She was outstanding lifter, pound for pound, kind of equals everything out. So outstanding lifter is actually the best lifter of the meet. She won that 3 times. Then she placed second at the regional meet, which qualified her for the state meet. Going into state, she was in 11th place, and she came out with a medal at 5th place. So she had a tremendous day and a tremendous career and a tremendous season. So I'd like to present this to Elizabeth and Ms. Kate.
Soccer team, which had an incredible historic season. We could honor all of them, but these are the girls that succeeded on the field and off the field. These are our academic all-state representatives, and Coach David God is here to award them.
All right, I'm Coach David God, and this is my assistant, Ebony Smith. The girls had a fabulous year. Through their hard work, dedication, and leadership, the program was raised to new heights. Our JV went undefeated. They went 14-0. They scored 71 goals and gave up 13 overall. They only gave up 2 goals in district. The varsity went undefeated in regular season and then went to the playoffs, went further in the playoffs than we ever had before. They scored 126 goals and gave up 14 and only gave up 2 goals in district. I had 15 seniors total. 10 of them made academic all-district. I had one girl that's not here tonight, Ramira Castellano. She had to work tonight. She couldn't make it. But these ladies here are here, and we want to celebrate their success in the classroom. So first off is April Batista. Renner Brazil. Isabella DeWitt. Haley Autobahn. Ivana Lopez. Josie Martin. Yareli Martinez. Dana Sepulveda. Amy Vesta.
said, that's our favorite part of any meeting. So it's really cool to sit here and see the academic success, the athletic success, the vocational success. Bay City ISD is second to none in the county, and I'm excited where our programs are going. So. Okay, item 6, monthly bond project update report. Presenter Christina Marrero, Lakeland and Associates. We have her already virtually on Zoom. Christina, how are you?
Good and you, good evening. You should have received the project update from Linda sometime Friday or earlier today. Basically, for the latest application, the project is at a 91% complete. In the pictures, you can see going from the bottom left, top right, you can see the progress in the dining room, the kitchen, the interior courtyard between the classroom wings, and a look at the typical classroom corridor where the flooring has been installed, the door, the ceiling, all those things have been installed, at least in area B, and they're progressing through the building. At this time, the interior finishes and casework continue installation, and this will be the case until substantial completion that is currently scheduled for the end of May. The building exterior and flat work and driveways should be completed in the following days or following week. And then the gas line to the building, it still needs to be connected. The contractor is currently waiting on city meter and regulator delivery and installation so that the subcontractor can finalize installation. With gas connected to the building, the boiler can be started, and basically they will be able to control humidity inside the building, and that will also help with the progress with the finishes, including the gym flooring. Any questions on Mimi Roberts?
You said the construction is 91% complete?
Yes, and it's to basically that 91% is to substantial completion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the 80%? I thought that was the substantial completion.
So basically, if the graph that you're seeing there marks that 100% is not final completion, it's just a substantial. Because basically, once you get to substantial, the building can be occupied by the owner. And that's why we mark it to that as the 100%. But from substantial completion to final completion, all the punch list items will be getting corrected. And those little knickknacks, things that are here and there will be corrected until final completion.
I think what you're seeing, Mr. West, the green was the original schedule. The green bar is the original schedule, so they're slightly ahead of schedule. Is that correct, Christina?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
I'm sorry, the green bar that Mr. West was asking about, that was the original schedule. The blue bar in the middle is actually where you are. Is that correct?
Oh, so the green bar actually shows the date where we are currently, and per the contract, the substantial completion should be by August, but the contractor is ahead of schedule, and that is shown in the blue bar.
Is that everything you had for us tonight, Christina, on the project update?
Basically that, and then the other thing I had was on the stadium, that the fencing and all the items that got added afterwards are completed.
Does any trustee have a question for Christina about the project update? I can tell you we're happy that we're ahead of schedule because we didn't want to go through that again. So the fact that we're ahead of schedule is really, really good. Hopefully that gives our teachers more time and resources to be able to make the moves that they need to make without a lot of stress. So thank
Yeah, and we're also planning with Aaron, so all the technology items and the panels are getting installed ahead of time, so it's not last minute.
Hey, Christina, normally you talk about a couple of things that were lingering on the high school stadium. Is all of that wrapped up now, or is that why we didn't get an update? Okay.
Yeah, that's completed. So basically, it was the yellow fabric that was missing for the press box tower, and the increasing the height on the fence on the south side of the track, and all that got completed, I think 2 weeks ago. It was by the end of the month, March.
Okay, then we'll just hold on to you for a second as we move into item 7, our items of business. A, discussion and possible approval of the building plaque for the new Lenny Roberts Elementary School. Presenter Christina Marrero of Claycomb and Associates.
So typically, every building will get their building plaque. In this case, we typically put the list of trustees that are shown on the plaque are those that were during the approval of the bond or the approval of the project. Since all the Bay City projects have been in phases, we basically added Bobby Kimball and Crystal Allison there, but we need your approval as the current board, whether you want to keep their names there or not. That's one of the items. And then the other thing is the year. We are currently showing 2020, which was the year construction started. And that matches junior high and teeny homes and the stadium. They all have the year the construction started, but we don't know if you wanted the year that the building will be open instead. That, and then basically if you like the layout or not. So if you want any changes, we can change it to be similar to the teeny homes, which is there, shown there at the bottom. Or we can keep it as shown in the big layout.
Just a personal note. I have history with Lenny Roberts, so I would like to suggest personally that we would go with the change in the year and do the current board, simply because of my history with Lenny Roberts. Lenny Roberts was my first school. Lenny Roberts is where I retired. Lenny Roberts is my neighborhood. It's personal to me. And it would be where I would leave a footprint, my legacy. So I would like for my name to be on there. So it would be this year is my suggestion, and this current board. I know traditionally it has always been the board that voted in on the bond, but I am a community member that also is part of that voting for the bond. So I feel like, just personally, that's my intake, and that's what I would like if that was good with the board. Just a personal thing, and it would mean a whole lot to me, personally.
I'd like to suggest that it's my idea to add the former members on this facility simply because they were part of the bond project from the beginning, and I felt like they needed to be recognized for all of the hard work that they've done from start to finish on all of these projects, which actually includes Lenny Roberts Elementary, and simply as former members. Speaking to what Trustee Robinson is saying, that if it is the desire of the board to have current board members on a plaque, then I'm going to suggest that you have 2 plaques. One with your board members when the construction of this facility started, and then another plaque with your current board. That would be my suggestion.
I'd look to see if we had any policies, and I don't even in your search. So Bay City doesn't have a policy about plaques, so TASB has one though, that I think that school districts can pull from. And it's exactly what Christina said. It's the board that approved the bond, and then any additional members that were on during the approval, because a lot of work goes into the approval and the work leading up to that. So I like the way these are. The current board did not approve teeny homes. Some of us got on as it was being completely finished, but we were here for Lenny Roberts, and so the way you have this is I guess, how I envisioned it. I mean, I think it's fair to the board members that did the work to get the school going.
And I guess what I'm saying, I'm not asking you to remove anyone there. I'm not asking anyone to be removed. But like you said, you were just coming in at that time. So you're saying the hard work that was put in, all of these other members were there. I guess if that's what you're saying. That you guys, that was no hard work on y'all's part. But the others, like I said, I'm not asking you to remove anyone. Just ask. And I can't explain to you what I'm feeling. You don't understand my history. You don't understand my story. And I don't have time to explain that to you, but my heart is there. You never understand. That's legacy to me. It feels good to me when those kids approach me at Roberts and say, I know you because your picture is in the primary room. Roberts is my home. That is not my home, but that name, Roberts, means a lot to the Black community. And I would like to hold that. A lot has been taken away. I would like to hold it. And that's all I'm asking. And I don't think I'm asking too much, but just to be added to that. Not taking away anything, but just to be added.
Whenever I first saw it, the only thing that I was kind of confused about was that the date said 2020 and then it said Board of Trustees, and that's not the Board of Trustees for 2020. So that's what I was a little confused about. But from Christine's explanation, it sounds like the date and the Board of Trustees listing doesn't necessarily correlate. But whenever you put it on a plaque, it kind of looks like you're saying that's the Board of Trustees for 2020.
Well, I mean, yeah, it says former members, so you're not saying that that was their board.
The former members for 2020 would be Cole and Manning, right?
No.
Because they were former in 2020.
No, Cole and Manning were on the board when we approved the project.
Right. But the school board members of 2020, the former.
Right. I get what you're saying.
Right. That's what
2020 is when the building's construction started.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was saying. It's kind of, it confused me at first because I was like, well, that's not accurate, you know. But if they don't correlate, then that's a different story. But if you're just looking at it on a plaque, you don't really know all that backstory on it. But I'm fine with whatever. I'm definitely not voting to take anybody's name off of here because they all put in the work to do it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the names on the plaques as they're presented on the sheet.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been seconded by Trustee Clepak. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Say nay. Motion passes 5-1. Do you action on the styling of it?
Sorry?
Do you need action on the styling?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
So, yeah, but it was a reference to the names. Oh, I'm sorry. So we approved the names, but do you need action on the style of it?
The layout, I mean, basically it can be similar to the smaller one, like it is at Teeny Homes, or it can be as it is shown on the big one. It just, basically how the Board of Trustees are shown is slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need action on that, or is that something that the administration will take care of, the style?
Okay, he wants a board decision. So, then we'll vote on every one of these items. So the names, we don't want to remove or add. Everybody's name is correct. So the year, I mean, the other two schools that have plaques have the year that the construction was started.
Yes, correct.
Any reason to change that now, all of a sudden, to change it to the year it opened? It would be a little bit of confusion, but what do you guys think?
I think we should do it just like the other, just as the junior high team.
Okay.
The year of construction.
Okay. Any other thoughts about the year? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
What's your motion?
The motion is that, I guess we're going to leave the plaque layout the same. And also, the construction year will be the year that the first on the plaque.
Okay, so you've got two separate things in that motion. Let's just stick to the year.
Okay.
We can talk about it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the start of construction. 2020 is the year that is on the plaque.
Okay, motion's been made by Trustee DeWitt to have the year of construction start as the date on the plaque. Is there a second to his motion? Seconded by Trustee Klepak. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay. And finally, the styling. So I looked at this one that we came in here in the junior high, and this looks really nice out here. But I can't tell which one is in here because it's kind of. Got to plug it in? Christina, do you know which style is on the front of this building, this junior high that we're in? Is that the top one, I think?
The bottom one, the junior high and the Teeny Homes ones are exactly the same.
Okay.
I apologize for my dog.
What do you guys like as far as the styling? The bottom one is on the front of this building and the other building. We could stay uniform and
I
keep
like
it.
that idea, staying uniform with the junior high and the team on plaque.
Okay. Is there a motion to be made? I'll make the motion that we leave the plaque, use the bottom for the proposed styling to match the other two schools.
Okay.
Seconded by Trustee West. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Say nay. The motion passes 6-0.
Yeah.
So that's everything on the sheet that you needed. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay. I guess we're going to hold on to you for at least another one. So, items of business 7B. Discussion and possible approval of the plaque in memory of Miss Lenny Roberts. Presenter Christina Marrero with Clayton Associates.
So in this building, since the beginning of design, we have talked about basically having something in memory of Miss Lenny Roberts. Initially, we were thinking of including her biography in a big book we have in the media center. It's a big structure. But in the process of design, we really wanted that book to be more for long-term use for the students. So we try to figure out how we can keep her memory and dedicate the building to her in the process. And we still have a good portion of the book that is her quote, the one that says, "I leave you love, I leave you," all these things. So we kept that in the book, but we made it very friendly for the kids and everything. But we wanted to make a building plaque similar to what you have in the current Lini Roberts, that we can put it at the entrance and has her bio, has her picture, and her picture can be in like a photo, or it can be etched in the plaque permanently there. It's one of the choices that you get to discuss and decide. And then we modified the bio that is online on the school's site to have basically the information, and we didn't delete, we just deleted the filler words. I don't know if you want me to read it or if you had the chance to read it, but we kept the information there. And then at the bottom of this, I put there, we searched for district recommendation. And basically for the discussion that you previously had, I can think that maybe you want to add all your names there as the board, current board that approved this plaque, and basically, move forward with this portion of having a memory of Miss Lini Roberts.
So do we have to put board members on her plaque? Can it just be about her?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, it can be completely about her, but per the discussion on the previous plaque, I know it was brought up by board member Robertson. Basically, if we want to go with her idea of including the board members there, it is a possibility, or it can be, I can just make the bio bigger and just remove that part that says we've searched for district recommendation. It is your choice there, completely your choice. This is something new that we're doing in this building that we didn't do on any of the others.
Okay, so then there's a couple of items that we need confirmation, and we'll just discuss these one at a time again, and we'll have any action if any. So review the modified biography, confirm if acceptable. I wish we had them side by side. I mean, I like the biography the way it's written. Did anybody have any comments or suggestions about the existing biography?
Who is this guy?
I wanted to go by the Roberts and check it out, just without a time limit to, but is there, I'm sorry for my ignorance, but is there anything on the one that's already there that's not on here? I don't want to leave anything out about her. Do y'all know?
Christina, you said, what did y'all remove from the existing biography, the field of work?
It was more, so we corrected one of the school names. It was corrected. I think there was a little bit of an explanation on what her parents did. So we kind of removed that a little bit. We kept her parents' names, but not the full information about them having the piece of land and all this information. We kept it short and more concise. We kept the schools that she went to, but we removed the cities that schools are at. Basically, there was a portion of the bio that explained how she was a mentor, how if a kid needed a book, she would go ahead and buy it. So we just made that shorter. If a kid had a broken uniform, she would mend it then and there, and she would always had everything that was needed to help anyone. So we just kind of shortened that and put it that she did all these things, but we condensed it to a shorter version of what is online.
If we wanted to, Christina, would we be able to add to this biography of Miss Lini Roberts?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want it to be too informal. I think the last of the biography that's on the current Lini Roberts made it more personable as far as her being an educator and also being, you know, a caring person. And that's what we want to do in school.
And reading this existing bio, I love the quote. I'd love to put the quote back in, even if we put it back in where it says reserved for district recommendation. But then it also talks about her children and Eddie and, yeah, I agree with what John said. I'd like to see the original bio.
It needs to be.
What'd you say, Lisa?
It needs to go back in there. The original needs to go back in there. That was Miss Mary Robbins. It needs to go back just the way it was.
So you need one action saying
Yes.
that's,
Just one at a time, the bio. Let's just talk about the bio. If there's a motion to be made or we need to discuss more.
I think we need to discuss this a little bit more. I mean, I don't know about right here. Do we have to make a decision on this? Christina, are we under the gun that if we don't make a decision on this, that it won't be there for whenever the school opens?
Typically, I think it's like a 3 to 4 week lead on building flex because it's not that big. So it's not that much. I can actually send you all the information and you can compare both bios next to each other. We're not removing that she's a caretaker. We actually wanted to know that she's that. And she was all that, sorry. And more. But I can definitely create some kind of a cheat sheet that shows how we modified it and the original, and then basically try to include at the bottom there where it says reserved for district recommendation, include the quote. And then I can send that to you so you can all review it and discuss it beforehand. I'm not sure how it would be done, but I can definitely send you that. And it can be discussed during the next board meeting if needed.
When are we opening? When are we gonna do the building open?
The building should be, opening in August, so you have time.
I mean, if we need more room down there where it says reserved for district recommendation, to put more elaboration and, you know, the heartfelt writing there about Ms. Lindsay Roberts, I think that's more important than our name being on the bottom of that plaque because, you know, that's just, to me, that's more important. I mean, it's not about us. This is Lindsay Roberts. It's not basically ISD board and plaque.
I agree.
Okay, so it sounds like we might be tabling the bio until next meeting, make a decision between the way it's presented and the old one unless there's a motion to be made. And then conversation around reserve for district.
We table it.
Table it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And see and do exactly what the lead contributed to our community. And board members was I didn't even know.
Okay. So your motion has two things in it. So Trustee Nelson's made a motion that we table the biography till next meeting, and we'll compare the old and new and some other options. And that reserve for district recommendation does not include board members' names on the plaque. Is there a second to Trustee Nelson's motion? Trustee DeWitt is second in the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion is passed 6-0. Okay, we're now talking about a photo etch versus a mounted photograph plaque. And I guess without seeing the two side by side, I wouldn't feel comfortable recommending.
Would the photo plaque, would it be like a normal photo where it could fade?
So they say no. I don't know if I trust that, to be honest.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking I'd rather have a photo etched plaque just to make sure that it can stay nice for a longer time.
Yeah, I agree. And the picture itself, the colors, it will work very well etched because it doesn't have many colors.
Right, it looks like it's almost black and white already.
Yeah.
So there's 3 different options here? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
There's 2.
No,
basically, building plaque manufacturers offer both options. And one, the etching, it's more permanent than having a photograph mounted there.
So I make a motion to do the photo etched plaque.
Motion's been made by trustee West to include the etched photo on the plaque. Is there a second to trustee West's motion? I'll second the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Trustee Robinson, I didn't hear your vote either way.
I say nay.
The motion passes 4-2. Okay, and then approving the layout as shown is the final piece. And so are you just talking about the photo on the left with memory of on the bottom and the biography on the right? Is that what you want clarification on?
That is correct. But if I would assume that would be very related to motion number 1, which is with the biography, and if it may need to change a little bit if we want to fit the whole biography. So basically next month when we discuss the full biography or the modified and the quote and everything, you'll have different layouts then.
So we'll approve that next month as well?
Yeah.
Just as a point of order, I'd like to go back to the previous vote and take a voice vote, just in case there was someone's voice I didn't hear. I abstained.
Can I say something before we make that vote?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to say on the mounted photo, I like the color. To me, it makes it feel, it just seems, I don't know the word I'm looking for, it just seems just more real. And the etched, I understand what we're talking about, but you know, it's just black and white, it's just there. But when you go to Lindy Roberts and you see the picture of Lindy Roberts it brings a more humanistic approach to the school district and to the school. And I would like to go ahead and transfer that to the new school and also have almost that same photo, if it is going to be that is the photo, to carry over to the new Lindy Roberts. And if we do have to get another photo, by God, we'll do it. But I think it's just going to look better overall, and it's just going to seem more lifelike and more appealing. And that's my 2 cents. I really would like to reconsider the mounted photograph on the plaque for Miss Lindy Roberts.
Christina, it brings up a good point. How easy is it to replace a photo 20 years from now if it fades a little bit?
I'll verify and ask and basically bring that up again. I don't know how easy it is, but I'm assuming it's not that hard to replace that. But the other option is if you want to have her picture separate and then have her bio in a plaque, 2 things completely separate. It's something that I can also look into, and I mean, if that is what you want, it's something that it can happen. It's not impossible.
And they almost could be side by side where it looks like one plaque, but there's just a thin line.
Yeah. Yeah.
It may not be a bad thing to present. Present both, if you don't mind, and let us look at it. But I totally agree with you, Trustee DeWitt. I'm almost sure that this one had been done once, but I may be wrong, maybe once, that photo has been redone. So I agree with you. I'd much rather have the photo versus an etch. And I'm also talked to Cheryl. She's the only living other than her son about the biography and see what she would like taken out or not. I'm gonna let her look at it because I think her input at this point is so important. So I will talk to her and bring that back with me the next time. Because I think they were left out on a lot of this decision making from the beginning. So I will discuss that with her since it's tabled and we're going to bring it back.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree, we should get some input from the family.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea. I also think as part of the layout that we're reconsidering, that picture being a part of the layout, I would like to make a motion that we defer the decision on an etched photograph versus a picture photograph, because if it's part of the layout and it can be changed, that we would include that conversation in the conversation about the layout next month. Seconded by Trustee DeWitt. And I'm gonna take a voice vote. Trustee, further conversation, Trustee West?
Just like a technical, since we already voted on it, is there anything that has to happen before we can vote on it again?
We're essentially just gonna overturn it with another vote because it's part of the layout.
Okay. Fine. I was making, I didn't want us to end up getting in trouble if we're not following procedure or something.
Trustee Klebeck?
Yes.
Trustee Nelson? Trustee DeWitt?
Yes.
Trustee Scardamine, yes. Trustee West? Trustee Robinson? Okay. So the only thing that we've determined on this plaque, Christina, is that we're gonna make the whole plaque about Ms. Lenny Roberts, and we're not gonna put anybody else's names on it other than her family.
Okay.
And we'll bring these conversations to the next board meeting.
About that plaque, Christina, what is the size of the plaque? What is the size of the print? I just want to make sure that the person doesn't need a magnifying glass to read it.
No, so the letters, they're gonna be, I think they're, okay, so the plaque itself was 18 by 30, 18 in height, 30 wide. And that is looking at different sizes. It's actually bigger than the building plaque you have in that than the building plaques themselves. It is slightly bigger. The letters will end up being less than a ½ inch tall, which is pretty big. That's, they can go smaller, but I do not think I would like them to get smaller. And we can make the plaque bigger, definitely, if needed.
Roberts, how big is that one?
Sorry?
How big is the plaque that's already at Lenny Roberts?
Oh, I actually measured it last month, but I do not know the dimensions by memory. I can actually, when I sent the layout for a review with all the bio and everything, I can actually put those dimensions there of the existing there. I can actually include a picture of what's at Lenny Roberts currently and basically what we're proposing now as well.
Okay, because I think the one that's there is pretty big.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it even has like some raised properties to it, if I'm remembering correctly, that makes it even a little more grand.
It is bigger.
I will say this, I'm not in favor of making it smaller. I mean, I just, that's just my own personal opinion. I mean, the school of Miss Lenny Roberts means a lot to this community, and we just don't want it to go from something a little bit grand at the current Lenny Roberts to something just minuscule and just kind of, oh, we got to put a plaque there. No, we don't have to put a plaque there, but we want something to be nice and something that stands out and something that, you know, represents what Miss Lenny Roberts stood for.
I completely understand. So I'm actually considering that because I saw the existing one, but I'm also putting into consideration the space we have. I mean, I was thinking putting it in that entry vestibule, but if you want it bigger than that, definitely we can think somewhere else. So that is the reason that the size was kind of limited. so we can fit it in that entry vestibule. When you come in, you see it. It's that's basically the only thing you can see in there. But if you wanted the size of the current one, I definitely can look at other options of where we can locate it in the building, in the new building.
So you're saying if you go smaller, that it won't be there in the vestibule as you come in, and you won't be able to see it first thing?
Yeah, because in that vestibule there's like alarm control boxes for the alarm. You have a control box for fire system, and it's taking some part of the wall space. I mean, we can definitely look somewhere else. Once you come into the building, there's going to be a big mural it's going to say Lenny Roberts, very big. Maybe we can put it next to that mural.
Can you get us the size that it would need to be in the vestibule versus what it is versus, what it would look like near that mural?
Yes.
Talk about all the options.
Yep, I can definitely work on that.
Awesome. Any other discussion? Okay. Thank you so much tonight, Christine. We appreciate you.
Thank you. You have a good evening, and if there's any questions, anything, just let me know. And I will work on the layouts and try to send them earlier than normal to Linda, so you can have time to look at it and basically also send it to the family and so we can get their input as well.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a good evening.
Okay. Items of business 7C, Bay City ISD 2021-2022 maintenance budget capital projects. Our presenter is Thomas Colbert, the Director of Maintenance and Facilities. Thomas, good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you all doing?
Very good.
Presentation. So this is just an awareness presentation on the condition of some of our older facilities within the district. Hoping that it will at some point spur a conversation and what to do going forward. There's also some things in here like budgetary numbers that we're looking at. I'll try to go fast. I got a little happy with the photos, but I was trying to paint that good picture. Also in this process, we try to rank by priority the needs of the district. First thing that we're looking at right now is, as you know, when we built tiny homes.
So, can I have you stand over here, maybe? If you can present without your mask on, I just want to make sure you're 6 feet away from everybody.
I can't talk with one.
No, that's fine. You can present without it as long as you're, yeah, I think you're good there.
All right, so as you know, when we built tiny homes, we left the old 300 wing. 300 wing is about 20 years old. Currently, over the last year, we've lost control of the HVAC control system. Right, it's an old Schneider system. It is no longer communicating with the servers. Schneider actually no longer has anyone within their organization that can work on this old equipment. We did hire them to come and give us an assessment of it, and they're asking for an entire overhaul of the control system. At the same time, the district, with all the new schools, went with hunting and training and convergence for all the new controls. So we asked them to look at it as well. So we're looking at, with homes right now, we're looking at possible costs of $72,000 to update just the controls for the AC system in the 300 wing, just so that it'll work. So right now, if the teacher says I'm hot, there's nothing I can do. The system runs a manual based on an air temperature sensor that's outside the building, and it's somewhat thinking on its own, and it's telling itself, but we can't control it. And again, this is just updating the controls. This does not include updating the actual physical hardware, which is what we're fixing to do in the high school, changing out all the BAV boxes, water controls, whatnot. So this is just what we need to do to get the system back up and operational. So we felt this was priority number one. It's not a good day in our office when the teachers are hot, or the students. So this was first thing for you guys to discuss at some point.
So is that the cost to go to the same control system that all the other facilities are using, or is that to stay with the Schneider?
No, this is to update to the Hunt and Train. I asked Schneider what they would charge as well. Their quote was about $18,000 higher. So obviously it made sense to go with Hunt and Train. Currently, the only systems that are still with Schneider is the 300 wing, the high school, which is fixing to get upgraded to Hunton and Convergence, and then Cherry is 100% the old Schneider system. So in a couple of years, we're going to be looking at doing the same. We're going to have to doing the same thing with Cherry, but right now we don't have any control over the 300 wing. So, but again, yes, upgrading to the newer technology with Hunton is a little bit cheaper than going with Schneider.
Okay.
So our relationship with Schneider is not that great anymore because everything used to be Schneider, and we slowly phased them out. And so, a little uncooperative at times.
I was just curious if the Schneider was like 18,000 or something like that, then maybe.
Yeah,
it's
no,
more than.
They came in around 90,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So. All right, number two, and a lot of the things that we're going to talk about are the old systems. Thank you. I'm sorry, all my allergies. A lot of the things that we're going to be talking about today are based around the junior high. Some of the things like number two here are some things that Dr. Scott had asked me to look at when I came in. So the junior high auditorium, which also houses the black box for the drama department. So as y'all know, we spent a lot of money upgrading the stage, the lighting, but there were a lot of things that didn't get done, and I want to go through some of those. So currently right now the roofing system on the junior high auditorium and black box is, I want to say 99% bad. As you can see from the photos, nearly all of the gutters are rotted out. A photo on the left is the underside of the roof where we have holes. We currently have holes in the black box. We've been working on leaks for the last year. We've tried to patch those up. Currently, I won't allow the guys to go back up on the roof. The last time we were up there, the roof was so rusted that a foot went through, and we had to patch that. It's in really bad shape. We talked to the same company that Brain King that did the roof on the high school, and we had Claycomb confirm these numbers. Depending on how we go, there's a price of $567,000 to $757,000 to not replace the roof, but put the plastic liner system down like we did at the high school, minus the ribs that were glued on to make it look like a metal roof. There's some wind codes there that won't allow that on this particular roof. But again, this is kind of a priority. We spent a lot of money in that building, and it doesn't have a roof.
So this is the whole auditorium building, and then a separate building that's the black box.
No, the black box is part of the auditorium.
Oh, it is connected.
The black box is what used to be the old cafeteria and kitchen.
Oh, okay.
It's all the same part.
Is this the Ingram?
The top King room.
Yeah, that's the building we're talking about.
Yeah, the big auditorium at the junior high.
And then the cafeteria was like right next to it, but it's.
Yeah, it was all tied together because the old cafeteria, I believe, is under the theater seating. So it's all connected. It's all the same building.
Mr. Colbert, if I can, so what is the difference, do you know, in the price with that, because it's like almost a $200 difference on?
Yeah, so one of the things that we had talked about doing was, I treated it as separate, is the main walkway out front. It's a covered canopy walkway. It has the old gravel roof system like the high school had. It was nearly $200,000 to tear all of that out and to replace it as well. And so we added that in there as either we can or can't do it. But at some point it would have to be replaced as well. So if you're going to make it one big project, but we left it optional to go either way.
Do you know if we were to go with the lesser on just the roof over the black box and not the walkway, would the instability of the walkway, the deterioration of the walkway, would that affect the new roof? Do we know that?
It won't affect the new roof of the auditorium and black box.
Okay.
But as I'll show you, I'm going to show you later some situations we're having at another campus that could lead to a similar situation. It's kind of one of those things that's best to get it all done and over with. But it won't affect the functionality of the auditorium.
So, pardon me if I'm vamping real quick, but none of this was ever factored into the bond, because if we were fixing a black box and turning the cafeteria into what we want, the black box or the theater system, none of this was ever factored in. Does anybody know?
I don't know. My understanding is that, well, only thing I can say is that it was not in the bond. If it was discussed to be included in the bond, I don't know.
I can tell you what I know is that we thought that the roof on the Key Eagle Auditorium was part of the bond, but then we found out that it was not.
Okay, next thing on the list is the chiller and boiler system for the auditorium and black box. So part of the bond was updating all of the air handling equipment inside the auditorium. However, what did not get updated was the chiller, which has been in service since 1995. The particular unit that you see there on the left is supposed to be an indoor unit like you would see at the high school. However, this unit sat outside many years uncovered. It now has one of those throw-up carports over the top of it. Looking at this unit, it is worn out. It's excessively noisy. The worm drives are going out. And the service life on this unit ended about 10 years ago. It is still functional. The point of this is to say that, honestly, this thing could go out tomorrow. It could go out next year. But it's on its way out. Same thing with the boiler system. That boiler system was put in 1986. So its service life ended about 20 years ago. It is not efficient. It backfires on us. And you might say, well, we only use it in the wintertime. No. With these chilling systems that we have at the schools, the chillers and the boilers run 24/7. It's a mixing system. That's how you go from hot to cold. As you add cold water, you add warm water. So these both run year-round. So again, this is another one of those things where we updated everything inside the building. We put in all new air handling equipment, but the heart of the operation was not part of the bond. And so this is something that, again, I'm presenting it because it is a large cost of $475,000. And again, it could go out tomorrow or it could go out next year. But again, it's on its way out. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that.
Are we currently using the auditorium, or is it in such bad shape that we're...
No, part of the bond was that the auditorium got a new stage. The stage was updated, it was extended. There was new lighting put in for the stage. They built a new sound room in the back, something that the auditorium never had. The front entryway was completely remodeled. It's all new. There's a new visitor area, new carpet, new tile. Most of everything in the building was updated. A new fire alarm system was installed. But again, there were key elements, and we have some more that we're going to look at. There were some key elements that weren't replaced as a part of this project.
So you said earlier, like, it doesn't really have a roof. So is it leaking?
Yes, it is leaking.
All over? Okay.
We don't have a lot of leaks in the auditorium, but we have a lot of leaks that we can't control in the black box. In the black box, yes, it's a classroom. It's also a stage. So we have probably $100,000 worth of lighting, stage lighting that is in that room that we're trying to prevent from getting wet. So, and yes, the stage is used. It's not used a lot. We do rent it out to the public. There are some dance places in town that use it to have their dance shows. Rick was telling me some other companies that use it. But it's rented. The junior high uses it. So it is a facility that we do use. Not a lot, but we do use it.
Can I interrupt to answer your question, Mr. West? Our junior high band, junior high theater department, junior high choir use it.
Okay.
But probably the primary use is sometimes being rented out. Currently, the high school auditorium is not rented out. Is that correct, Rick? So any anytime a community group wants to hold something in an auditorium, they rent out the room. They don't rent out the high school auditorium at this point unless that is changed in board policy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because right now in your board policy, the high school auditorium cannot be rented out. Now that's something for the board to consider. But primarily the use right now is community, other than the few events that our fine arts department has here on site.
I think you're right, because I remember we made one exception to the high school. I think we had the Lions Club pageant there. We had to approve that.
One other element that pertains to the auditorium is all the exterior steel doors. These doors are original to the facility. They are steel doors, however, they are rusting out internally. The hardware is worn out. Most of it is not functional. Some of these doors are boarded shut, and some of these doors we don't have the ability to close and lock. So being we've spent so much money on the facility, we do have a hard time securing it. So it's one of the things that we needed to look at. Was replacing 22 exterior doors at a cost of about $50,000. All right. One of the other things that we're looking at right now is condition-wise. 3 things pertaining to the junior high. This is the parking lot for MCES maintenance, and this is also the primary parking lot for that junior high auditorium. This road is very deteriorated, has large potholes. These potholes are about 10 inches deep. We have some small buses that come in and drop students off at MCES. It's a very difficult parking lot to get through. But again, something that I guess wasn't looked at when we updated that facility. One of the other roads to the junior high, this is the main entrance to the bus loop and the main faculty parking lot. So this is coming off of, I think it's 11th Street. This road runs between the 500 wing and that stadium. This is also where we stage the dumpsters. Currently, we're in the process of relocating all the dumpsters. The road is deteriorated that when the trash trucks come in, they're sinking through the asphalt and going down into the dirt. But again, a very rough road that takes you to the new concrete parking lot and bus loop. Just kind of some close-up photos. And then the third parking lot at the junior high, this is the parking lot behind the stadium. This is also where our parents come in and pick up their kids every day. So this is what I guess now we would call this parent road. Also in very rough shape. Very large potholes. So it's one of those, we have this new beautiful complex, but all of our roads getting to it are extremely rough. Again, I just want to make it all aware.
Can I ask a question, Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
Were any of those roads damaged by construction equipment when the junior high was being built?
Not from what I can tell.
That damage was already there?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no, these, one of the things I've noticed throughout the district is anytime you deal with asphalt, I'll give an example of the high school. The high school parking lot, it's still in fairly good shape, but any asphalt structure requires resealing every few years, something that we've never done. Something we're going to put on the list for the high school. If you don't maintain what you have, it will end up in this shape. And this is what I'm seeing is that we're going to look at some roofs here in a minute that weren't maintained. And this is a classic example of we didn't maintain and reseal these parking lots every 2 years as they should be.
Can some of the really large holes be filled in just to get us through?
So we,
for now, or,
my predecessors had tried to fill in the holes. I've tried to fill in the holes. The problem is when you have holes this size and you're trying to put bagged asphalt in it, it won't adhere, and so every time you drive over it, it just comes right back out. You can't get it to stay. You know, when you repair asphalt, you know, you're supposed to come in and cut it out, dig it all the way back down, and
From your assessment, would you recommend, Douglas Price difference, but concrete in some spots versus asphalt?
yeah, my opinion on these three particular parking lots, primarily because of the heavy vehicles that are on buses, I would recommend coming back in with concrete. Yes, it's going to cost more, but it's going to last a lot longer. So, and there, believe it or not, there are a couple of options now on concrete. They have a new concrete system now that can be made without the use of rebar, and it pours down and it goes down in the same equipment as asphalt, and it lasts just as long. It's a fraction of the cost. So there's some new options on concrete to get the cost down, but I wouldn't recommend going back to asphalt. Requires a lot of maintenance. Concrete doesn't require any maintenance.
Until something can happen, can we fill some of those holes with not asphalt? Just put some gravel or something in there so that somebody's not popping a tire or losing a front end?
You can put gravel in it, but the gravel will only last about a week. As soon as the car tire hits it, it just pushes it right out. It won't stay in there. The asphalt that we can put in there, it lasts a little bit longer, but it doesn't last very long.
So there's nothing that we can put in there and buy time so it gets replaced?
No. It all needs, all the bad areas, for example, you know, these big holes. Okay, you would want to come in and cut all that out.
Right.
And then dig it out with backhoe and then backfill it. But you're spending money when you're just going to have to tear all that back out to redo the whole thing. So it's kind of a bad situation to be in. It's that deteriorated. This is kind of an interesting one that I think we need to move on. When I was going through the budgets and looking at some of the money we spend, I had discovered that our chiller that we use at the MCES and the maintenance building that we were renting at, which I thought was kind of odd. Anyway, this particular chiller to run that building, we were paying $33,000 a year for, to rent, not to own. So again, I went back to hunting and said, okay, what would it cost to get a new chiller put in? I can have a new chiller put in that's ours that we own for $109,000. Basically 3 years worth of payments on this unit. This unit had a 5-year rental contract, and that rental contract ends in October. So, again, I don't know the backstory, other than the unit that was there went out, and a decision was made to rent a chiller from ProTech out of Corpus Christi.
When that expires, is it going year to year, or are you going to be required to sign another long-term contract?
I'll have to sign another long-term
You're going to do a
contract.
1-year thing?
And if I do it, I can do it 1 year, but the cost goes
I
up.
don't know, go up, but I just want to see kind of on a time crunch. If you could get one in there, great, but if not, yeah, they won't.
I think for the money with the 3-year payback, and we own it, you know, so.
That's going to include, I'm assuming, but I'm going to go ahead and ask, that includes the control system and everything, like, because earlier you're talking about chillers and controls as separate. So that 109 is going to put it into our system, or that's just the chiller?
That's just the chiller and installing it. Now, as far as like that particular building, that is one of the oldest buildings we have left in the district. It still has the old components inside the building, the old controls. Everything in there is extremely old. I'm going to say from the 60s.
So we're not going to put a new chiller in and then not be able to control it, right? We need to be able to control it.
No, this system actually predates controls. I can run this one manually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the way it's being ran right now?
Yeah, it's a really old system, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This one, this system still has the thermostat in each room where you can adjust it the way you want.
Okay.
So no, this one's still a manual. A good old-fashioned manual
Right.
system. So, yeah, no problems there.
Okay.
So, and again, if later on the board says we want to do something else with this building, then that chiller can simply be if you will, unbolted and moved to another location. So it's a 62-ton unit, and it would work in other locations.
Is that the only one at that building? It covers the whole building?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, let's switch over to, again, I'm going by priority here, not per se covering all in one building. Administration building. Currently, this is physical condition of the gutters at the administration building and physical condition of the window frames. As you can see, the window frames are rusting out. I'm sure you all know that when the hospital and the administration building were built, that all of the window frames were installed backwards, thus causing them all to rot out. We'll talk about that here in a little bit on the hospital. We haven't put together any pricing on window frames. I'm going to say over the last 10 years, these window frames have been patched up. So if you go look at them, you can see where people have welded on them and plugged in holes. I went over there recently and started filling in the big holes with spray foam. But because they're installed backwards, the window ledge, instead of being a 1/2 inch, is now closer to 4 inches. So that water just sits on top of the frame, it rusts a hole, and then those big channels fill full of water. The last one I worked on had over 2 gallons of water in the frame. So if it ever starts to rust out on the inside, then all that water is just going to pour into an office. I have some areas like that at the hospital right now. But again, one of the things that we need to do is replace the windows and the window frames and the gutters at the administration building. You may ask why the windows, the actual glass. If we go in and alter the frames, I have to update the glass to current code. So this glass would no longer be in code, so we would have to install new glass.
Are the new gutters going to be vinyl?
No, the new gutters, because they're so big, these are 6-inch gutters, they would go back with metal. Yeah. But they are in pretty bad shape. Okay, another thing that I was asked to look at when I came here is back to the auditorium. Again, we spent all that money on the auditorium, and there's a couple of things that we did not do inside the auditorium. We still have the original seating from 1962. The last time these seats were updated was in 1994, 95 when we had the stage fire. So I was asked to get quoting on what would it cost to put in new updated seating. Currently there are 1,220 seats in this auditorium. New seating standards, the seats are a little wider. I don't know why. Magda was happy with that, to lose a few seats to get wider seats. So replacing the seating in the auditorium will bring us down to 930 seats at a cost of about $280,000. One of the other things that we're lacking is carpet. When they came in and did construction of the stage, you can see where they tore out parts of the carpet and we didn't replace the carpet in front of the stage, at the back of the auditorium where we put in the handicap seating, and overall the carpet is in really bad condition. So there were 2 different costs on carpet. Actually, there's 4 different costs on carpet, but rough numbers, $46,000 for carpet. You can go in with carpet squares, or you can go in with the big sheets of carpet. You can replace the carpet that's just on the aisleways, or completely carpet the entire room, which is what is being requested of us now. And then the last thing was requested was painting the auditorium. So again, we did all the work, and we still have the really old paint. My picture's not coming out very good, but you can see the ceiling of the auditorium where they've gone in and done some plaster work. There's a lot of plaster work all across the ceiling. It's not painted. So when you walk into that facility, the ceiling looks really splotchy. It is a big number, $160,000. Because of all the scaffolding that would have to be brought in to get to the ceiling. Pretty tall ceiling.
Just upgrades on auditorium are only been like $1.5 million.
Yes, sir.
You're looking at $1.25 million just for the roof, the boiler, and the doors, and then another $486,000 if you do the carpet, all of those things, so yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a big number, but again, right now, the main thing is the roof. The roof is not going to last another year before we have complete failure, and we really need to start considering and talking about a roof for that facility. Okay, I want to talk to you guys about the overall condition of the stadium at the junior high. So this is the old Memorial Stadium. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is the visitors field house. Currently, we don't let anyone use this facility due to the condition. This is the roof. The roof is 100% gone. It's there, but this is a spray foam roof. And spray foam roofs do not belong in South Texas. We use them a lot in North Texas. This is another one of those things that if you don't maintain it, you'll quickly lose it. A spray foam roof has to be reseal coated with silver paint every 3 years. I don't believe this happened on this particular roof. And so right now the roof is 100% lost. And so here's some pictures of the inside. This is the locker room and shower area. The heating system is no longer working. This is the other end of the visitors field house where they stored all of their equipment. It's been boarded up. This is the inside of that room. This is the ceiling, walls. So they still, our coaches still try to sneak in and use it for storage, but we try to keep them out. It's in that bad of shape. The other thing is the actual physical condition of the track. I don't know how old this track is. I was told it was resurfaced about 10 years ago. But due to circumstances, either vehicles were allowed to drive on the track. They did some, I was told they did some weightlifting outside where they would drop the weights. Has led to the current condition of the track. Currently the track cannot be used for any, I guess you could say, UIL competitions. It's not usable right now. Here's some more photos of the track. This is the main field house, which is the blue building over here. This is condition of the doors. This door is completely rusted out. You can see the styrofoam on the inside. Bottoms of the doors are rusted out. These are the shower rooms that they are still using. And then under the visitor side, where the press box is, the photo on the left, this room was the old weight room. See the condition that it's in. This is another storage room that the coaches used. Here on the right, further down on the other side of the press box. And this is the same room that used to be the weight room. We've been in there trying to clean it up. If you have seen it 2 weeks ago, all of the interior wooden walls had completely fallen over due to termites. And we've tried to clarify that situation. But it's not a good place for anyone to be around right now.
Thomas, right now that is not utilized by students, is that correct?
No, nothing over there. The only thing that's being utilized by students is the home field house, which I would question if we should let them in there as well. That's a pretty rough facility, but they are using it.
Since we have opened the new stadium, our junior high sports are primarily playing at the new stadium, is that correct?
Correct. The only thing that, at least since I've been here, the only thing that the football field has been used for, we leased it out for some Pee Wee games. And then there was a semi-pro football team that came in a couple of weeks ago and used that facility. So it's not that it's a big cost sitting there, it's the amount of money it would take to get it where it could even be usable. I know that we spend about $10,000 a year hiring a contractor to come in to repair damaged and broken lights on the stadium lights. So there's a cost there. But in my opinion, like the visitors' house, it needs to be torn down. And I would say the overall stadium, the bleachers, everything under the bleachers, questionable as well.
My question is, can the stadium legally be used? I mean, does it fall into, ADA guidelines? I mean, is it?
I don't believe it would fall into ADA guidelines. Looking at the condition of the bathrooms. Now, the bathrooms were overhauled, I think about 4 years ago. But someone would have to fill me in on the actual what's going on with the stadium. I know from what I've been told was that part of the justification for the new stadium was that this stadium was no longer safe to use, and they had actually stopped having games at this stadium due to physical condition. So now that the new stadium's in place, and we said that the old stadium wasn't safe to use, what is the plan going forward with it? Are we going to pump a lot of money into it to get it where it can be fully operational again? Or do we want to let it sit idle? Or discussion of removing it?
So in reference to what Mr. Colbert is saying, and Rick, you'll have to help me with the details. There have been a couple of safety studies done on the old stadium with varying results depending on which company did which safety analysis. Is that correct? Or
Right.
the stadium?
Right. What I understood was before I came, they were saying that it was going to be unsafe shortly after, say 15, 16 years ago. They did a study and predicted that it was going to be unsafe on the load. And then another study was done, say 2 or 3 years after that, and they said it was safe for the load, the study that was done. And so then whenever, well, feedback can kind of tell me too, I think, whenever the bond was passed, the idea was to have the junior high athletic events, or football and soccer there at that stadium, and use it like that, because it would have a lighter load in the stands. But then now, this year, we used like Lisa said, the new stadium for the junior high event, all sporting events, pretty much. So is that kind of what you remember too, Bob?
Yes. Of course, obviously, that's why we built the new stadium.
Yes.
We knew the condition of this stadium. But looking at these field houses here, I was never under the impression that those were in that bad of a shape. And it seemed to me like we had some football games over there in the last couple of years, have we not?
Yeah, we never stopped playing football games.
Yeah,
We just
last
went
year.
from one to the next.
Yeah.
So,
Last year, our boys played there. Now, whether they use the visitor side field house, I don't know. I know that our home side field house is still in use, even with junior high boys right now. But the visitor side,
I think the visitor side, I think the last couple of years that we played football there, they did not utilize the visitor side, if I remember correctly. I think the question would be, where did they go? But this is not 100%, but they may have gone to the gym, the North, we used to call it the boys gym, that could have been in the, anyway, they used another building during those games.
well, this is pretty embarrassing looking at all of these pictures, to say the least.
There's a reoccurring theme also of us not taking care of what we've used taxpayer money to buy, and that's very disturbing.
You know, I for one, the stadium, the old Memorial Stadium, I for one don't see it being fiscally responsible or sinking money into this. We have a new stadium, and that's where our kids are playing, high school and junior high. I mean, it's a multi-purpose stadium, and I don't see it being prudent to sink money into this so that we have a nice, up-to-date stadium at the junior high, and then we have a, you know, state-of-the-art facility at the high school. I don't see it doing it. I mean, I played at the stadium. It means a lot to me. Coach won state championships at the stadium. It means a lot. But, you know, we have to be business-minded and we have to be fiscally responsible, whether or not we're going to sink money into this building, you know, and a new track, plumbing. I know that was one thing. Plumbing on the home side and for the men's restrooms. I don't know about the women's restroom, but it's just I don't see us that we should do that. I don't see that we should do that.
Can it be maintained in the state that it would be a practice facility, but you wouldn't have buildings that you were, stands that you were using, but I mean, the field could be maintained, correct?
I think the field can be maintained, but I think everything around it needs to be removed.
So then it would still be Old Memorial Stadium, it just wouldn't have the bleachers and the buildings, but I mean.
And I agree. I mean, kids can go out there and practice. And
You need to take the track out.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But
I mean, there's expense to do that as well, but I don't know that it would be near the number that would be restored.
no, not at all.
And you would have to definitely demolish anyway, so those expenses are there.
Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about, I don't really want to talk about it, but we have to. Pierce Elementary, which is now leased by the Boys and Girls Club. Okay, same situation. We have a foam roof that is 100% gone. We've had 2 evaluations. Our evaluations have both stated that we have less than 12 months of physical roof left to fight off more leaks. Currently we have leaks in this facility. We have leaks in the front offices. There's 4 wings plus the cafeteria at this facility. One of the wings, the second wing, now that wing was remodeled, I don't know, by STP or somebody. It had a new metal roof put on it, new siding, new windows. The rest of the facility is original to 1940, 1950, whatever that was. Okay, so this is the roof above the cafeteria. It has bubbled out to about 12 inches, fills with water, comes back inside the building. But all of the roof that is foam is in this particular condition. So right now the majority of the leaks are on the outer edge of the building. So these are the soffits under the building. It's like this all the way around the complex. This particular area has become so bad that the Boys and Girls Club has rented scaffolding. They have set up to make a bridgeway that has a metal roof so that they can safely walk under that sidewalk to get to the back 2 wings of the building. I didn't bother getting any type of pricing because all the roofing would have to come off back down to the middle frame, and all the fascia and soffits be replaced as well. There's a couple of things that we're doing with Rick. Because the Boys and Girls Club leased that, there was an agreement that said we would maintain the roof for 20 years. We're 10 years into that.
Yes, what it says is, and I've had the hospital look at it a couple of times, lawyer. There was actually, when it was signed originally, which was say 2009, it was a lease where we're responsible for the roof and the maintenance of the building on the outside, and they're basically responsible for what goes on inside. And there's a 10-year renewable lease that renews automatically. It keeps rolling. So therefore, in 2010, 19 that unless they want to terminate the lease with a 30-day notice, then it's a continues. And so we're like, for example, the difference is that the Hilliard building, Head Start, for example, is responsible for the roof on that particular building. So this particular lease agreement, which was signed, say 2008 or 9, I think in 2009, that we were responsible as a district for the roof. And so
it came back up in 2019, and did we vote on it or anything, or did it just?
Well, as far as the lease agreement, you didn't vote on it. I think nobody keep renewing.
So it automatically renews for another 10 years?
Yes.
So now we're locked into 2029.
How much do we lease it to them for?
There's no cost.
To Mr. West's point earlier, he mentioned that repairing our facilities. One of the things that I think we've got to consider is that if you look at the National Center of Educational Statistics, in the United States, most school buildings at 40 years old start to rapidly deteriorate. At 60 years old, they are usually abandoned. When you're looking at the age of Keying Room and Auditorium, the MCES building, the 500 wing, some of these asphalt driveways, Rick can help me, they were built at least in the 60s, if not earlier. Is that correct?
That's what I understand, yes.
Pierce probably being even older, I would say. I'm not sure the year Pierce was built, but these buildings are over 60 years old, well over 60 years old.
There's some of
In the
it,
stadium.
like the asphalt, I think it said was done in the 2000s or something.
Yeah.
And then
Your newest buildings, the high school, well, except for new construction, the high school and the 300 wing at homes are about 20 years old, is that correct? Rick?
Yes.
So we may be required to maintain this roof for a few more years.
I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, you're looking at, I'm gonna guess, over $1 million in repairs just for the roof. And then you're still, to Ms. Moy's point, you're still left with a building that's over 60 years old.
All the leaks are on the outside, you said, nothing's leaking inside the building?
No, we have leaks on the inside of the building.
We do too.
Our main leak that we've been fighting for a long time is in the director's office. And the reason I say we've been fighting it a long time is with the foam roof, you can see the water coming in, but when the water gets under the foam on top of the wood decking, it can be coming in there, or it can be coming in 100 feet away and traveling down. And we've patched this several times, and we keep making the path bigger and bigger and bigger, and we still haven't got to this leak. Not really a decision needs to be made as for the future of this facility. I do not see any point. I can't justify putting a new roof on it based on cost. It's not like you're restoring an old Cadillac and then you're going to have a gym when you're done. You're not going to have that here.
What about those two buildings there on 3rd Street? Those are relatively newer buildings, are they?
No.
Or one building?
No.
They are, they're newer than the ones on outside. They were added on after. They are more.
If you look at the construction, it matches. I mean, looks like it's from the same era, but it still has the same. It still has the same condition roof. So.
whether it was built in the 40s or in the 60s, it doesn't change too much.
Yeah, it's all over 60 years old at this point. To me, the only thing that's worth saving at that facility is the fairly new outdoor basketball complex. But I know Rick will tell you the background on this is that if the facility is not used for, and I think we were trying to find this out, if the facility is not used for educational purposes, then the Pierce family can take the property back. So it's kind of a, you can't tell the Boys and Girls Club to leave. You've got to do something with it or you lose it. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's the current situation, the agreement with the Pierce family. So.
You don't want to just somehow get the Boys and Girls Club into a different facility and then leave the Pierce family with this. I mean, that wouldn't be right either.
True.
Take a hard look at this.
Last thing on my list, back to the junior high, not to throw more problems at the junior high. For the stage, for the band department, the drama department, currently there's no way for them to get their equipment to the stage. Currently. Used to, this facility had an outside elevator, which you can see went up to the bay door, came in the backside of the auditorium, and this is where we would bring in all the big equipment. This elevator hasn't been used, it hasn't been operational in several years. It is original to the complex. Structurally, it's been damaged. The steel structure has been damaged. The hydraulic system is out, and even if you fixed it, it would never pass code compliance. But this is another thing that they've asked us to put in an elevator because there's no feasible way of getting equipment in and out. The last time we had to get something out was the choir shells. It was a sketchy process, and we had to get them out before. But from a student-teacher standpoint, they have no safe way of getting anything to the stage.
Was it always open like that?
Surprisingly, yes. From day one, this has been an open structure. With my background and what I've always done, this thing scares me to death. Because you could be riding in it, and you could stick your hand in it, and then you would hit these beams, and you would no longer have an arm. Which is what happened. This is why it's structurally unsafe right now, is why it's damaged. They had something loaded in it, they started to move it up, something slid out, went through the side, and then it got caught, and it damaged the support beams, and it wedged the cage. And also, it's really interesting, a lot of your big electrical conduit runs down the wall in front of that elevator cage. And so as you're raising the elevator, anything that might stick out a little bit hits that electrical conduit. It's a very interesting elevator, one that will no longer function. But again, it's another one of those, we spent a lot of money there, what do we want to do going forward? There's a need for a new elevator. So, something else to consider. With that, I'm going to leave y'all alone.
Did you have a summary for us, Thomas, on what the total projects?
We put together some numbers. We didn't put together numbers on parking lots and the window frame replacement at the admin.
What's your total?
We did. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't include it, but there should have been a slide for the window frames at the high school. The window frame replacement project at the high school was $780,000. Well, where we're at right now with the quotes that we've received, we're at $2.74 million.
And that doesn't quite include everything.
That does not include everything. I would say, looking at parking lots, window frame replacement, road repairs, I could say we could add another $500,000 to that.
And other than the projects that you presented, other than the high school windows, administration building windows, and the 300 wing at Tenny Homes controls, all of this money would be to work on buildings that are probably 60 years old.
That is correct.
Other than those three projects.
That is correct. Other than the 300 wing, It's 20 years old. All the other things on this list are 60 plus years old.
So just for a point of reference for new board members, those of you, you've all been in this community for years, but you will also know that even from our superintendent, Mr. Walton, I can't remember how long it's been since Mr. Walton's been here. We've had 2008, thank you. We've had attempted bond elections even with Mr. Walton because the administration saw these problems starting to happen. Knowing that our facilities were reaching an age of 40 and 60 years old, at that point we started the process of bond elections, which failed several times until the most recent bond, which our community was so gracious to allow us to approve. We knew that putting more money into old facilities was just putting Band-Aids on things that were growing more and more decrepit. So that's why for the last 8 to 10 years we have attempted a bond election, and thank goodness we finally had one, but we're left still with some of these issues to deal with.
And we didn't put it in this presentation only because I presented it to the board 6 months ago, was the North Gym, or the South Gym at the junior high. Some of you were here, some of you weren't. That gym floor got ruined. It's 100% loss right now due to some water damage. We've worked with the insurance company. Where we're at right now, we haven't came back and told y'all anything. We have a verbal denial from the insurance company, and we've been talking to them for a month now, trying to get a letter in writing stating the denial and the purpose. But that's where we're at right now. But the repairs to that facility, to that gym floor, was going to be about $200,000. So again, another facility, World War II era, very old, that can't be used right now. So. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Hopefully next time I can present something fun. But again, this is just situational awareness. Thank y'all.
Thomas, for that presentation. Dr. Scott, we felt that it was important that the board see this type of presentation as we start to enter budget season. Of course, none of this is built into our budget. None of this is built into the budget you're about to adopt. But at some point, some hard decisions will have to be made about some of these facilities, and then that will either have to be built into the budget or into fund balance or things like that.
All right, thank you, Tom. Sounds very eye-opening.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for the time.
Okay. We have item 7D, approval of the employment of personnel. Presenter Lisa Bulmer, Chief of Human Resources and Federal Compliance.
The administration recommends the approval of the elections as presented in board book.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made. I think I heard so moved first, and you want a second? Sure. Motion's been made by Trustee Cleapack to approve the election of personnel as in board book. The motion has been seconded by Trustee West. Is there any individual that any board member would like to convene into executive session to discuss? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. The motion passes 6-0. Item 7E, consent agenda. 1, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting from March 22nd, 2021, regular board meeting. 2, approval of the March financial report. 3, approval of the Walsh Gallegos retainer agreement. 4, approval of the instruction materials allotment and TEAG certification form for 2021-2022. 5, approval of the 2021 summer school calendar. And 6, first reading of DCB local employment practices term contracts. Is there any item that any trustee would like to remove from the consent agenda? Is there a motion to be made?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion's been made by Trustee DeWitt to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second to his motion? Trustee Nelson seconds the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The motion passes 6-0. Item 8, Superintendent's Report. We have Lisa Moya here tonight. Lisa?
I'm subbing tonight, so just a little bit of information for you. Early voting dates for school board election are April 19th or April 27th. We have that set up in our Bay City ISD Administration Building. Election day will be May 1st. In your board book, you'll see a copy of resignations and also a review of Clayton Associates Architects Monthly Statement. There are no communications to report this month. And just a point of thanks, in April and May, we have quite a few special days and special celebrations coming up for our school volunteers, administrative assistants, school bus drivers, school principals, Teacher Week, School Lunch Hero Week, and school nurses. So I encourage you all, it has truly taken every one of those employees this year to make it work for Bay City ISD. And so I encourage you to watch our Facebook page. Mr. McGallion will be celebrating all of these individuals throughout the month of April and May. And thank you to all of them for getting us through this year. That's all.
Awesome. Are those events going to be like events where you show up, or are we just?
No, sir. We're just going to be highlighting them.
Awesome.
Yeah, on our social media and highlighting them to the public.
I'll make sure to share.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Okay, and then just one quick word of encouragement and excitement for the district. So you see my purple mask here tonight. I got this at Cherry Elementary. So last week was Week of the Young, where we celebrate our young children in early development and the educators and administrators and parents that are surrounded around educating a young child. So our mayor came and he read a proclamation for Week of the Young, declaring it Week of the Young in Bay City. Trustee Robinson and myself attended, and the color theme was purple, so everybody had purple on and we had purple masks. And the principal there, we realized, Jana, that it was her first time standing in front of her campus, the entire campus, all of them, because they normally come in pods. And so it was really, really cool to have all the kids just waving their pom-poms and excited, and I can't wait to see their smiling faces again. So Week of the Young was last week, and it was awesome. So any other final thoughts or comments?
I just want to say congratulations to all of our students and student athletes. You know, they've been making tremendous gains in you know, our engineers, our band, athletics, our athletic department. I mean, it's just tremendous what strides our basic Black Cats are doing. And I just want to say, for those watching on YouTube and listening, and for everyone else, that, you know what, we need to go out and support them. We need to support them in every avenue that we can, whether it's you know, in the classroom or if it's out there on the field, because these kids feed off of that, and they'll show up and they appreciate that. I think we can all venture to say that whenever we were at that age, whenever somebody was supporting us, that it was just an encouragement. It felt great. It felt good. And you know what, we need to do that. And I think that what we're doing is we're starting to turn around the motion of a Black Cat pride. You know, we have that saying, Black Cat fighting with eyes. And that's something it's not just a saying, but it's a motto for our community. A lot of people were used to it before Coach John came back, and I think that what we need to do is support our kids in every aspect that we can, in the classroom and out on the